feeling the lips of Orlando Jordan.
No,
what the hell? Hang on.
Wait a minute.
Wait a
Hold
minute.
on a minute.
Almost made it a 2 for Tuesday there. Orlando Jordan.
That was funny. Yeah, he's got some kind of on his shoulder. I don't know what that is.
I don't think it's that.
I don't think I could say that, so sorry.
I think the bottom line is, ladies and gentlemen, he still is victorious with X Division Championship gold in tow. He is Robbie E, making the Jerseyites proud here on this edition of TNA Xplosion. The ladies are coming up. TNA Knockouts action yet to come.
Let's fight, boys. Let's fight.
Hey.
Glad you guys are enjoying dinner, guys.
No excuses.
Guys, attention,
No
please.
excuses at
Attention.
all. He's ready.
Guys, I think it's important. Thanksgiving is a time for us to learn and to reflect. And I think one of the things that we have to be honest about as we reflect back, there's one person and one person only
Oh, God.
who's responsible for us being here.
Not Dipsy again.
Seriously. Seriously.
Oh, my God.
And I think it's time. It's time we give thanks to this person. So
Sauerkraut.
it's time for the guest of honor. Eric Young, lights, please.
Oh, please.
Guys,
Hey, keep the lights.
I love it.
thank you.
Welcome. Sit down.
Thank you, champ.
It's not a hooker after all. Champ's here.
Everything I've done, even on this day, I have nobody to thank for it. Everything I've done is due to my greatness. I am larger than life itself. I am the sky. I am the clouds. I am the water. I am earth. I am things, all things, to all people. But I will eat.
Still to come on TNA Xplosion. What's going to happen when Dixie Carter shows up for dinner? But up next, EV2 has crashed and burned. Can Tommy Dreamer save the hardcore legacy?
Rhino has turned his back on EV2, and tonight, Tommy Dreamer wanted answers in the form of a hardcore street fight. After a bloody battle, it seemed nothing was settled.
Rhino and I's 14-year friendship is over. I'll probably have to get a nice little stitch in my head. My wrist is still kind of banged out. Nice little graphic shot right there. I gave him a chance to say goodbye. Cool way, but you know what? It doesn't always end with a happy ending. And, you know, this is the nature of this business. They say you count your friends on one hand, and I think I just lost one. It's all good, man. This business hardens you to that fact because it's money and it's, you know, it's part of the business. It's funny, Rhino, I offer my hand in friendship to let's say goodbye, and he, I don't know if you really know what going through a table feels like. My neck is so whiplash right now. You hit the back of your head, you whiplash, you get crushed. And I didn't see Rob come because I was covered in a table, but I heard the people erupt and I heard his music. And I got all cut up with nails, and there's wood and there's splinters, and there's so many. Going through the table doesn't hurt as much as when you got to go through it, when you got to get out of the rubble.
Rhino, what's going on with you right now as far as setting your sights on first Tommy Dreamer and then RVD at Final Resolution? I mean, these are your boys.
My boys, I'm feeding my family. I'm earning a paycheck. I'm taking care of my family and my child. That's what's going on here. You know, they came here, they stole all the glory like they always do, and who ended up in the back seat? I did. I'm not gonna sit in the back seat. I'm gonna take the wheel. I'm in the driver's seat. And I'm not gonna rest until I'm taken notice of. And if I have to put everybody in this company through a table for people to take notice, that's what I'm gonna do.
Rob Van Dam had some choice words for his former friend Rhino, but the two have a violent past that will come to head at Final Resolution.
All right, so listen, it's one thing to make a bad decision, and Rhino explained why he made the call. He said his contract's up. We see the rest of EV2 being torn apart, being sent home. Rhino had every reason to believe it was time to pack his bag, so he kind of explained why he made that decision, but at this point, after repeatedly goring me, leaving me out there, and showing everyone in the world that the ties that he had to EV2 mean nothing to him. Now, Tommy busted through this table, and just to know that Rhino at that point, to still stand behind his decision and to back his position of it was the right thing to do. He's taking care of himself, he's taking care of his family. I don't think anybody else, including Bischoff, believe that he's doing the right thing. He's a toy. He's a toy at best to Bischoff, and he may not realize that, but if he gets hurt at Final Resolution, which is definitely in the agenda, what's his family gonna think then?
Will a first blood match resolve the ongoing conflict between Rhino and the members of EV2, or will it drive a wedge further into their already complicated feud?
Yeah, you know, I kind of pride myself on not taking too much time off for injuries over the length of my career. First notable one was a broken ankle suffered here in Orlando, a match with Rhino. That was, at that time, we were wrestling a lot. The stakes were high because I was the television champion, and he ultimately ended up, when I took time off, I believe he ended up taking the title without beating me. Sounds familiar. Been here in Orlando, full circle of life. So yeah, I noticed stuff like that.
I remember it like it was yesterday. Rob Van Dam, I just called him up, hey man, how you doing? He's like, you know, this is the first time in my career I've ever been hurt. And Rhino did it to him. Now, several years later, he watched the two of us just go at it. I mean, it was a fight. It wasn't a wrestling match, it was a fight. And Rob's sitting back there. That's a mental image that sometimes you can't recover from, wrestling a guy that you got hurt once before in the ring. And, you know, it's ended a lot of guys' careers in baseball and football where you get injured, you just don't have that fight anymore. Rob actually came back from it, but it's going to be back in his mind because Rob is one of those guys who's like, man, I could fly from one side of the ring to the other, and he does it. But I remember that was a setback for him, and, you know, he used it to positively put himself where he needed to be, but Rob's going to be second-guessing himself sometimes, and it's going to be one hell of a match.
Will history repeat itself for Rob Van Dam, or will he survive Rhino this time around?
Hopefully everybody realizes that being in a first blood match for me really means a lot. I'm not a guy that you see bleed a whole lot. I've had my share of scars. If you looked under my eyebrows, I mean, the history would be right there, but when I do bleed, people, you know, they take notice. They remember. I get scars sometimes, but for me to actually call it, for me to put that on the line and say this is what I want, should tell you that my agenda is to bust Rhino open. I don't want to pin him, 1, 2, 3. I want to bust Rhino open. So that is my focus. That's what I want to do. That's all I want out of this match.
A few weeks ago, AJ Styles seemed to be out to hurt Stevie Richards. How will this malicious act be dealt with in the wake of the brutal injuries to Mr. Anderson?
AJ Styles has done the Styles Clash for how many years? It's had to be thousands of times to thousands of different opponents. He's never dropped anybody like he dropped me on Impact. Yeah, he tried to break my neck, and he came pretty damn close to doing it. You know, my neck is really messed up. I can still go. I probably shouldn't, but I can. I can still go, and, I mean, let's face it, let's not mix words. That mother tried to break my neck. Today in sports entertainment and TNA wrestling and all other aspects of wrestling, they throw the word shoot around a lot. They throw the words receipt around a lot. They make it seem real. They try to go out of their way. Anybody who watched that Styles Clash knows that was real. That was not a...
You're like, I wish I was that good.
I wish it was a planned, protected move like everybody thinks it is on the internet. It's not. He tried to break my neck. There is a personal animosity between AJ Styles and myself.
Why? Where does that come from, bro?
I don't know, personality, whatever. He has a chip on his shoulder. I have sort of a chip on my shoulder when it comes to this. Why? Because I've worked my ass off for 20 years. And he has a silver spoon put in his mouth. And you know what? That pisses me off. He's everything handed to him here, and he has everything handed to him by Flair. I fight for what little I get. AJ does nothing and gets all this.
Later tonight, the main event of Xplosion, Angelina Love versus Tara. Now, Angelina, if you beat Tara, you are one step closer to the TNA Knockouts Championship.
Yes, the TNA Knockouts Championship that I never really lost. If you remember what happened at Bound for Glory, I did not get pinned, yet I still lost the title. I'm pretty sure that's like the second or third time that's happened to me. And you know what? Wrestling Tara, I can do it in my sleep. I've done it a million times before. You know, she was gunning for me when she first came into this company, and obviously throughout our history, you know, it's gone back and forth. We've been friends, we've been enemies, and we've been friends again, and then she stabbed me in the back a million times, and now she's Madison's bodyguard. Of course, because I'm coming for the TNA Knockouts title, but I have to go through Tara first. And honey, I promise you, tonight, I'm gonna bull you down.
Angelina Love versus Tara tonight on Xplosion.
Still to come on TNA Xplosion. The knockouts are in action as Tara takes on Angelina Love in the Xplosion main event. But up next, can Matt Morgan rally the troops to take on Fortune?
Last week, Matt Morgan defeated the Nature Boy Ric Flair, and as a result, we'll get to decide who the special referee is for his rematch with TNA champ Jeff Hardy. Who will he choose?
I've beat Flair before. Flair's beat a lot of ass in his career, so I mean, you know, everybody can get beat. So yeah, he beat Ric Flair. That's good for his resume. It just takes a blink of an eye to slip up and lose, and evidently that's what Ric Flair did. And congrats, Morgan. That what happened with me.
Of course, beating Ric Flair is a huge deal. Ric Flair will go down in wrestling history, he already has, as the best in-ring competitor of all time. But you know, like I said last week on Reaction, it's not like I was gonna go into that match all starry-eyed. And that's not what this was about. There was a major stipulation at hand in this match. So I couldn't view Ric Flair as, oh my God, this is like a dream opponent. I couldn't do that. Because the bigger issue at hand is, if I won that match, I get to name my own special referee versus Hardy for that title, okay, at Final Resolution. Did a bad call cost me the world title? Sure, yeah, you're damn right it did. And like I said to Bischoff, if anybody should be pissed about it, it should be me. But you know, I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. No one in TNA is perfect. No one in the world is perfect. And mistakes happen. It's just Matt Morgan's luck that someone's mistake happened at the biggest match of my career. But you know, the way I look at it's this way. Winning a world title, it's all about the quest, man. It's all about the journey. It's all about overcoming obstacles in your way. So when you get that world title, it means that much more to you. And you'll defend it that way, because you know how hard you had to bust your ass to get that title. And that's what that is.
Matt Morgan's presence in TNA continues to grow. He's mapping out a path to the TNA World Heavyweight Championship and mounting a strong opposition to Immortal. Is he ready to lead TNA?
We're against the 8 ball right now. Everybody, not just Matt Morgan, not just Douglas Williams, but Samoa Joe and the Pope. So me and Douglas walked up to Joe and we tried to get the craziest SOB we could. And he's got a beef with Immortal just as big as ours, right? So you would assume, you know, that he would join on while he can and do the right thing. And you know, Joe's still at that stage that I was at, which is me against the world, and I'm my own man, and this and that, and that's cool. I respect that to a certain degree. But then there's a certain level of stupidity that starts to come in there at the very end, because guess what? The lone wolf cannot take on, what, 20 guys, or how many is in Immortal now? 15 of them now?
We needed a little help with EV2. Those guys weren't a part of the family. They were just hired help. They never belonged with us. They were outcasts from the beginning.
It was numbers. It was all about numbers. We needed a little bit more numbers. And now, you know what? And we're past that.
You know, and the fact is that we honestly never really needed them anyways. I mean, will you get in the shower? I left soap in there. I left it in there. Oh, I see it.
Got your hat on. You got your hat on.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. As I was saying,
he enjoys beverages. Just
they never belonged. Matt Morgan, Douglas Williams never belonged in Fortune.
You know,
this is Fortune.
We said the word.
He's a part of Fortune. He's a little
but he's a part of Fortune's family. We accept.
We've said the words core four since day one, and you know what? We mean that. You know, in the last couple of weeks, you saw that. You saw the extra weight going away from Fortune.
So what was going through my head was simple. Why should I take up the cause and trust these